Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. And welcome to 1847 Liberty. We stream live from Minnesota, USA.
Good evening and welcome to 1847 Liberty. I'm your host, Thomas Sarko, and tonight we're looking at two big stories stirring debate across the country. First, a major shipment of heavy road construction equipment has landed at the Freeport of Monrovia. The government says this will accelerate road building and finally connect rural communities that have been left behind for decades. But many Liberians are asking, will this time be any different? Or are we about to repeat the mistakes of the past? Second, we turn to a growing institutional clash inside the government itself. The presidential press secretary has publicly questioned the Ministry of Justice's decision to shut down a group called the National Fuller Security of Liberia. That move has raised serious concerns about unity of command, constitutional authority, and the dangers of private security structures in a fragile democracy. To unpack all of this, we are joined by our experienced new senior foreign policy and national security commentator, Mr. John Mawolo. Mr. Mawolo, welcome to 1847 Liberty.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sacco, and it's a pleasure being on your show tonight. And thank you for welcoming me and for your elaborate welcome. And I just thank you. I hope we can be of some assistance to the Liberian people in enlightening them to understand a little deeper what's going on and what could go on. So we'll do our part. We don't know everything, but what we know, we're willing to share. And we hope we can be educational. Uh, I don't intend to be political about anything. So let's do this for Liberia. Let's do this patriotically. And we hope that it yields the right results. So thank you for inviting me and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, people are skeptical because there's so much ambiguity around the whole yellow machine issue. As far as we know, as Liberian, the agenda of the Unity Party when they came into being was arrest. Started with agriculture. There was nothing about all of this. So all of a sudden it becomes the first. Besides, I haven't seen, and I follow the team in China, and I see the ship arriving, and though there is another 150 pieces more coming, I don't see a tractor. I don't see a combine harvester. I don't see attachments for tractors. So have we forgotten agriculture? Or is it secondary now? I thought it was supposed to be first. You described it right. It's road construction equipment. I see a whole lot of dump trucks. I see a whole lot of pickups. And I see a whole lot of cargo trucks. What do we need cargo trucks? What are we doing with them? I mean, we got so much that we need. and we keep on vacillating and not dealing with the real issues. We still got Rawalsea Road undone. We just gave a Ceremonian contract to build our highway going to Bullwater side. That's a Chinese company on the Robertsfield Highway. It's been what, 4 years now? That road is not done. And there are already a whole lot of yellow machines in the country, evident by the fact that they already grading a lot of roads. So why all of this? Is it really about Liberia's need? Besides, it's a farm to market road. There got to be a farm for there to be a market road. Where are the farms? Where are the machines to make the farm? Most important issues that we have in Liberia, one is feeding ourselves. If you're going to spend all that money on equipment, we might as well be able to feed ourselves. You could have spent that same amount of money and buy enough agro machinery to be able to supply all the major counties that would be able to produce the food that we need, and even enough to export, because Liberia has a very fertile soil. If we have the proper equipment and the proper training of our people, we can soon be able to export food product from Liberia. Now here, according to Mr. Samukai, they're going to be training 1,000 people. So you wait until the equipment comes before you're going to start training? So are there professionals that are going to be using these things, or there students? Those things are sophisticated machinery. You don't just put anybody in there. And if the purpose is to start building roads, farm to market roads, quote unquote, then it must have some professional operators who will be seated behind the controls. There's nothing wrong with teaching people, but you don't. When you buy a plane, when you're negotiating for the plane to be bought, they send the pilots to train. So before the plane arrives, the pilot has already gone through the training. It is only in Liberia that I see the equipment arrive before they're talking about training people. So there's a lot of things just starting backwards, and it brings a lot of question to mind. What are we really doing? The whole issue of the yellow machine is not on the budget. Where are we getting this money from? Who authorized the government to go and credit money? How do you call them? ArcelorMittal just gave us $200 million. Why wasn't some of that used to just pay those machines off? Why should we be in debt? So all of these questions are to be answered.
So the government used borrowed money to purchase those equipment?
From what I heard, they borrowed from a bank. Now, who authorized them? The PPCC don't seem to know about it. And it was not on our budget. So who authorized who to make that kind of expense? We always say the country is a country of laws. But it seems like under this government, that has changed. Because it seems everything they're doing is against what the Constitution says. So the Liberian people got to open their eyes. I see everybody got on yellow clothes today.
Celebrating the arrival.
I mean,
of the new
that
machine.
means it's a planned thing, where everybody happen to have yellow suits and yellow dresses to put on for a yellow machine.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's childish. I see it as very, 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 very childish. And it makes us, I mean, what's so big about yellow machines? What's so big about it? You know what I'll be happy if people be dancing about? If the government had taken some of that $200 million and pay Starlink for 2 satellites to put in the air, one for education and one for military or security purposes. Where anywhere you stand in Liberia, you could get on the internet. I would dance for that. If, they were buying some hydro machines to put in the different rivers, like you can use Lofa River, you can use St. Paul River, you can use St. John River, you can use Kabbalah River.
To generate electricity?
Yeah, and produce electricity for those areas. I would dance for that.
Yeah.
Because those are the urgencies. We got enough yellow machines in the country to build whatever roads we want or to clear whatever, because we're not building roads, we're just scraping roads. I don't see any tile laying equipment amongst those equipment. So that means we're not intending to put asphalt on any road, And if we're going to pay somebody to put asphalt on any road, they're going to bring their own equipment. So what's the use? Unless there are, alternate reasons, which the government has not made clear to our people. I don't see what's there to dance about.
Okay, yes, that's a good one. So, well, let's look at this one. So hope and skepticism are living side by side. So let's talk about what makes these kinds of programs fail. Experts say that buying the machines is just one step. Where do things break down after that?
Thomas, they got just 2 days ago, I was watching a clip from Phoebe Hospital where they got a brand new ambulance and they don't have money to buy gas for it. So they've been sitting down almost 3 years or so. They don't have money, but the ambulance is sitting there brand new because they don't have money to buy gas. To run any of those yellow machines, several hundred gallons a day.
And that's
seriously working.
That's diesel fuel we're talking about.
Diesel fuel.
Even more
several
expensive.
100 gallons a day, right? Besides, how many trained mechanics? I mean, I didn't even see them send technicians. They say some Chinese people coming with the machine to train the people. Fine, that's good. But that being said, this is a diesel machine. And Thomas, I must tell you, I also studied heavy duty mechanics.
Okay.
I operate those things. I work on them. I know how to work on them and operate them. Even the farm machinery. You understand? To maintain those things like filters. The filters are not cheap. And they have several on each one of them. Where is the plan for these machines? In fact, I see them already stamped the county name on it. So what's the utility of the new planning group that they put together? If you already decide where you're going to send it, so why are they going to plan? They're going to be public works now. They're going to be planning how to lay the road. Because I thought the planning was on the needs of the county. But you already put the needs of the county on the thing. That means you already decided where to send it. Okay, what are their needs? when you talk about roads, let's confine this thing to just building roads. Where are the road plan, the map,
Mhm.
the new roads that you're trying to build for Liberia to connect the country? Where's the map? You want to impress me? Show me a new map of how the country will be interconnected with these new roads that all these machines going to be on the road doing. You understand? That will impress me because when you travel to other countries, these United States or Europe or anywhere, if you flew over those countries, you see how the roads interconnect. When you fly over Liberia, you see one little road just going. If it, every time I fly into Liberia, I just feel sorry. The place
Mhm.
looked like a village. You see one road going, not even big enough, going. Ever since 1847, we've been on this thing. And and we're getting excited. So where are the plans? Where are the plans? I mean, to go and script roads that are already there. And that's one thing. What are the new roads? How you intend to connect these roads? How you intend to divide these areas into blocks? I see them breaking houses down. Say they're on
Aha.
they're on the pathway and all of that. What's the new plan for these roads, these cities to be laid out? Because if you're going to have all of that machine, all of these machines, there got to be a plan to make them functional. Morovia city government don't even have enough trucks and tractors to take away the trash. So you find the other day Center Street was full of trash.
Yeah, sanitation is still a major
Yeah.
problem.
And
And
they want to divide equipment, and that is a need. Look, listen, I don't know what's going on here. I
I think
want to be positive, but
mhm,
there are just too many questions.
too many
And the
questions.
answers are not there. So until they make those answers available, and I hope they will be listening to me, then maybe we'll get impressed. But for now, like you gave somebody a car who can't drive. You bought them two brand new cars, they can't drive, they know nobody who can drive. What good is that car to them? And that's what we haven't. You haven't even trained the people to drive those things. To Because driving those things is one thing. Being able to use them for the purpose for which they are intended, it's a whole different thing. And you can't just learn that in 1 day or 2 days. So I hope there is a plan. I want to believe there is one,
We
but we want to see it.
and we hope that the plans become available so we can see. And
Exactly.
in my previous segment, I always talk about this issue of priorities. Uh, why aren't our policy makers uh, setting our priorities straight? Like we have the government plan, right? The arrest agenda. So the first part of the arrest agenda is agriculture. They've been in office for 2 years now. Uh, we haven't seen any major development in that area. Now, for roads, for road maintenance, not not necessarily road construction, but road maintenance. But the roads haven't been built yet. And then we're also seeing mass demolition exercises going on, especially in the city of Monrovia, without first understanding the issue of overcrowding in Monrovia from the roots. They're just displacing, citizens who are already, suffering from the harsh economic reality in the country, and with no plan for for relocating those people, and no plan, like you said, we don't see any blueprint of what they are really trying to do when it comes to road construction or urban beautification.
Urban reconstruction,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what they need.
yeah, yeah. Mhm,
Well, some people say to me, you study diplomacy,
mhm,
but you too tough on, when you speak, you're not trying to be diplomatic. I said, listen, you know, um, I said Liberia issue is personal to me.
mhm,
Diplomacy is the greatest form of deception in the world because your job is to get what you want, but you can deceive the other person all you want to make them feel you like what they're doing just so you get what you want, right?
mhm.
I said, when it comes to Liberia issue, I don't have time to pamper nobody. This country is my country. I can't pretend. Diplomacy is pretending to get what you want. I can't pretend to Liberia issues. Liberia is personal to me. It's like you are a doctor and you come home and your child is dying from some kind of disease. You forget all the protocol at the hospital and you get to work, right?
Mhm,
If you are engineer and something is going wrong on your property
mhm.
and you see the people messing around, you don't play around at that point. You want it to
You take matters into your own
you
hands.
want it to be right. And that's for me,
Mhm,
it's the same kind of way for Liberia and me. I don't have time to be diplomatic with Liberia issue because it's not a time to be diplomatic. This is fighting time. We got to fight to save this country. And we got to be bold and frank with each other to tell people in their faces what's wrong. My mother always said, when you love somebody, tell them the truth. That's for me, the Liberia issue is what I see it like. Martin Luther King said, you've been down so long you think down is up. When I see people dancing for a yellow machine, that's what it makes me think about. You know?
The, the many years of deprivation and
Yeah.
lack of all of these basic social services.
Simple, ordinary things now become big things,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Uh, you live here in the States. You look on the street, especially summertime, you see Ferrari passing, Rolls Royce passing, Bentley passing. Do you know who own them?
Citizens.
Most time you don't know who the person is. All you know is American,
American. Yeah.
it's a whatever.
Mhm,
Who has the money to buy it, right?
mhm,
But carry one Rolls Royce in Liberia, everybody will know who got it, right? And so the
mhm,
issue with us, the low expectation come
mhm.
from ignorance,
Yeah, lack of exposure. Mhm,
lack of exposure.
mhm,
And for our people to understand, ignorance is not an insult.
mhm.
Ignorance means you lack information, the requisite information to make or inform decision.
Yes.
All right. So it's not an insult. But because our people lack that information, and how will they even get that information? When to even call on their own phone, they got to call and cut it off so that because they got to pay for the minute. That's so expensive, you know. And even the free one that they used to have, they took it from them. but the same kind of low expectation make them feel like they don't deserve better,
Yes.
and they can't even stand up when they're being abused.
Yes. Stand up for your rights. Yep.
You know, and as long as you don't stand up, you live in Minnesota. You saw in -0 degrees, these people got on the street every day because they didn't want ice in their town.
Yes.
Nobody care. That cold, nobody wants to go outside. But because they stood up for something, they will come from work and go out there all day, all night.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, I hope, I wish the Liberian people could see what's going on.
And
So
learn
they
from
see
them.
what it means to stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
You know, and so all of these things come together. For example, speaking of the people that they, breaking down their homes and things, they say they own government land and even those on the private land. Now, I don't have that information whether they paid them something and they refuse to move. That would
Mm-hmm.
be a different case.
That would be a different case. Yep.
But those on government land, I hope they paid them, because the fact that they ran away from where they were, it
Mm-hmm.
was government's irresponsibility that caused them to have to run. If the government had done its job that they ought to do, protect us,
And
those
provide
people
for us.
won't have to run.
Yeah.
They didn't provide the security that the people required, so they had to run for their lives. And they came to a place that was not prepared to receive them. So they settled wherever they found.
Yep.
And over time, they tried to make that place better.
Yes.
But secondly, the place they ran from, most of them can't even find the place anymore because it have been consumed by bushes.
Yes.
And there is nothing there for them to do, even if they went back.
There's nothing. There are no.
They can't start all over. So
Yeah.
the place they know is where they stay.
Yes.
Now, it is the government's responsibility to make sure that these people have something to go home for. And if you can't do that, then before you take them out of where you say is government land, two things.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan for what you want to do with that land and ready to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, find somewhere for them to go. After all, they got families now. They got children, school going children, babies. How do you feel as a government when your job is to protect your citizens,
Mm-hmm.
to see them on the street? Luckily, it's still the dry season, but it will soon be rainy season.
Yeah.
What do you expect these people to do? I hope they gave them enough money to at least pay a year's rent while they resettle themselves. And that's not much in Liberia. If you get even $1,000, even $800, they can find somewhere to be for a whole year.
That would be the right thing to do. But
You know, I hope
yes.
they did. I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah. For now, Liberians are watching closely uh, to see whether these machines will not just be seen, but actually put to work. Let's park that there and move to our second story, where the debate is less about roads and demolitions, but more about power, security, and the Constitution. So the NFSL, or the National Fuller Security of Liberia, the Ministry of Justice, and a surprising public split. Recently, a different kind of controversy erupted. The Ministry of Justice ordered the shutdown of an organization called the National Fula Security of Liberia after viral videos showed uniformed men marching in formation under its banner. The ministry argued that only state institutions can exercise powers related to national security, law enforcement, and public order. Then something unusual happened. The presidential press secretary, Kula Bona Nie Fofana, publicly challenged that move. In a commentary titled Releasing the Accelerator a Bit, the Fulani Security Saga, she portrayed the National Fulani Security of Liberia as misunderstood and community oriented. She said the group didn't just appear overnight, that it has operated for years, mainly during major Islamic events like Ramadan and Eid. Her position clearly conflicts with the Justice Ministry's directive for the immediate cessation and desistance of the group's activities. Now, Mr. Mawolo, from a constitutional perspective, how serious is this kind of public disagreement between the presidential press secretary and the Ministry of Justice?
Well, look, this government is, if it was not so serious, it would be a farce.
Yes.
Listen, the government has always overlapped their information anyway. One person saying one thing, the other person saying another thing. The information ministry, the deputy minister come and say one thing, the minister come and say no, it's the other way.
We saw that with the construction work in Foya, Lofa County.
Exactly.
Right? Like conflicting.
So everybody just giving their own information. I think they need to have some synchronization of the information system. But that whole issue with the Fulani thing, they say sometimes the truth is not fact, and sometimes the fact is not true. Right? What Kula said is the truth. What the government said is the lie, but it was an inconvenient truth.
Okay.
So for that, they had to vilify her.
Okay.
And that's an inconvenient truth. Because as far as the national security is concerned, and let me make something clear on this show, because I always hear Liberians say, national security is not only about police and soldier business.
Mm-hmm.
National security is broader than that. Agriculture is part of national security.
Okay.
Education is part of national security. Water and sewer is part of national security.
Yes, those are essential services. Yes.
Even roads.
That can affect national security. Yes.
Exactly. It's part of national, everything, anything.
Vital services. Yes.
That can either shut down the nation
Mm-hmm.
or destroy a large group of citizens
Mm-hmm.
is a national security issue. So when we speak of national security in this context, we're speaking of the security entity, police, soldiers, joint security, NSA. Look, the job of the NSA is to make sure There is no clandestine activity happening in the country. That's why in the national security, you find taxi drivers, you will find messengers, you will find janitors, you will find truck drivers, you will find electricians, you will find plumbers, you will find everybody in it. Most of these people you find in the offices, that's how they pay them. But their real job is something else. Right? So if these people existed, I mean, they call themselves national. You know, it's like in America, they say the world champion, but they only play here. So you know, they call themselves national fuller security, whatever. You hear something like that. Let's to the level that they want us to be and say it was true that I didn't know those guys existed, and they tell you that these people existed, looking at all the world information that coming in daily about all countries in the world, especially our close friend Nigeria and all that thing suffering from all these, you know, religious extremism.
Yeah.
And the best you can do is this cease to exist.
That was not strong enough.
That shouldn't have been the issue. The speech he should have made was to tell the nation we were informed of a group purporting themselves as the National Fuller Security Association. We have had them immediately arrested. They are right now going through interrogation. We want to know where they came from, how they got here, what they're doing, where their antennas are, and who's producing the money for them.
Yes.
That's what the justice minister should have been telling the nation, not coming on public airway to counter the cease and desist.
Help us unpack this. Why is it so important, especially in a post-conflict society like Liberia, that security functions remain under a clear authority of the state?
All security functions in a functioning society should always be under the eye of the state because of terroristic influences. Human beings by nature are bad people. And so the government job is to protect the citizens in the country. So the whole fact that they say security group, now I don't know if the security groups in Liberia are allowed to carry arms. But even if they're not allowed to carry arms, they're out and about. They're getting intelligence. And just intelligence alone can be dangerous. So the government has to keep an eye. But for the police to come and say they didn't authorize, the police is not supposed to be authorizing. The justice ministry is supposed to be authorizing. So that's the same miscommunication again. You understand?
It's like everybody doesn't know what
everybody just got to come and talk.
They're doing.
And when you see them all explaining, somebody is lying.
Okay.
Somebody is not telling the truth.
Yeah, and that's what I talked about, the lack of unity of command, you know. Like,
somebody is not saying the truth. Everybody want to wash their back. You know, the fact of the matter is so many of them are in these guys' pockets. They can't shake. Because the same guys, this group, there's a reason why they're there. I don't care what they call themselves because they're they can't be national.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not all over the country, so they local. They just find a name and give themselves. I don't know who gave their national name, but it could be Fuller Security Group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the country has become so tribalistic, everybody get their own little group, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and you know, if you want to be reasonable, looking at where the country came from and what happened to different groups of people, sometimes it's prudent that some groups say, you know what, let's have our own people just in case
Mm-hmm.
to help us protect ourselves. If you know anything about the economy of Liberia, it's hugely dependent partly on the Fullers.
Yeah.
If the Fuller people decide today that they will shut down, they're not selling food to nobody, in 1 week time, a lot of Liberians will starve.
Issue
You
too.
know? So I'm sure these people got authority from somebody to form that group. But because it got blown out in the public,
Mm-hmm.
they try to be defensive, and that's why the stop and disease is so weak.
So weak.
Because it cannot be forceful.
Yeah.
Because if you go and arrest them, and whoever that made you allow them to do it get mad and decide to talk, so let's just give it a pat on the back and say, look, my man, you stop it, man. But a lot of these groups exist. People, since this war, people got all kind of hidden groups all over the place. And it's the job of the national security to make sure that these people are kept, you know, keep their eyes close to the ground, so that their ears close to the ground, so that
Mm-hmm.
none of these people can be able to lift their heads. And if they start getting strong, you got to curb them. You know, here they got the militias. They stay in the bushes. They say they're training to fight the federal government. They stay there. Because the day you come out of that place and decide, they'll put the National Guard on you, and you know what will happen.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
so that's the same thing with Liberia. Liberia, right now, that whole Fuller situation, I think, is just a cover up. Somebody allowed them to form their group. And poor Kula, she was just emotional about it because she Muslim herself.
Yeah.
And they
And
wanted to relate it to the Muslim group.
yes.
And she felt that she cannot be in authority and
Uh-huh.
have these people accuse her religion.
Yeah, and not
That-
defend.
That's why she came on her private side to say something, but her capacity cannot allow her to be private. So
Yeah.
it's still the spokesperson for the executive mansion 24/7.
You are the mouthpiece for the president. Come
Yeah.
on.
So have you heard the president say anything about it?
And that's even more concerning. Like, why would you not, take a position on such an issue? You just stay quiet.
Even the National Security Agency hasn't said nothing.
So
When anything that happened here, you see the people put up their platform, everybody is there. FBI is there, the police is there, the national security is there, the fire service is there. Everybody is there to explain why this thing happened and what they are doing
yes, accountability. And
to avoid it.
that leads me to another question. Do you think is maybe because of the lack of crisis management, uh, the lack of crisis management professionals, or is it just something intentional to just let it die down? Liberian people will soon forget about it. They will cause noise for the next few days and they'll forget it. Let it die a natural death, in the words of my former former boss let it die a natural death. Do you think that is the case?
Well, that's always been the case in Liberia, but I'll tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
Liberia, I think the people take that country for a joke. People want power and they don't know what to do with it. They got no idea, no plan, but they just want power. It's just like the yellow machine that they bring in. They say when we get it, then we'll manage it.
Yeah.
You know, when it arrive, then we train people. You understand? How many real professionals are there in the Liberian government? Real professionals. I'm talking about the upper echelons. How many real professionals in their areas are there? They're afraid of the professionals.
They are afraid of the professionals. They are afraid of the
They're
professionals.
afraid of the professionals.
Yep.
Because they know the professional will not compromise themselves
Yep.
just for somebody foolishness.
I keep asking the same question because if we have real professionals in that government, and this is not just about the current government, I would even go back to the previous government. People, they're not hiring professionals. They're only hiring party loyalists.
And they're hiring people. When you look at the government, and I don't care whether it's this one, the one before, or what. You know, the government that were really professionals in the war, that were Ellen first term.
Yeah, Ellen first term. Yeah.
If you look at any of those people that were holding position, Ellen herself could not tell them anything.
They knew what
so they had to do the right thing. And we saw how the right thing worked. We saw why it took the country out of and where it brought the country.
Yes.
And then after they left, then everything went crazy now. It became friendship. It became party loyalty. You know, it became, what do you call it? Worshiper.
Praise singers. The praise singers are the ones in charge. Yeah.
For where we are as a country, we need the most professional people. If we're patriotic and if we love our country enough, we need the most patriotic people put in a position that they hold, so that they can be the face of the country.
Yes,
we get things done.
We got to put our best foot forward. I keep saying this, and it is so frustrating to see the level of patronage that that's going on in our country, in our leadership. Look at a professional like Dr. Nia, who was heading the National Health Institute? Yes, Chris Nia. That guy has a patent here in a biomedical field. He invented a process. This guy is a and this is the guy that they decided to mess with to tarnish his reputation. Learned that he just won the court case at the Supreme Court for wrongful dismissal. And it is only because, as you put it, that they are afraid of the professionals, because the professional guys, the highly qualified guys, will not stoop to their level. They will try to maintain, the highest level of integrity and professionalism. And majority of the people in the regime are not focused on that. They're only focused on one thing: maintaining their jobs by continuing to praise the president, to sing praises on him, and not tell him the truth, and ill advise him on most of the issues in the country, so that they can continue to keep their pockets full.
If you look at places like the National Health Institute, Is that the place to play with?
Yes.
You
No,
got a country
no, no.
that hardly got good hospitals.
Yes.
A guy like Chris, and Chris happened to be my friend, but a guy like Chris who worked in, he used to work with National Institute of Health in DC here. This man was trained in Germany, came here working with the National Institute of Health, and they got a private, research group now that he still works for.
Okay.
He comes home to serve.
Mhm.
The fact that he comes home from his international work,
Yes.
most of our people that run home to look for a job, they haven't worked in the area here. And lastly, if they got a job, it's not a good enough job.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes, that's correct.
The difference with somebody who work in the area is somebody leaves here and say the person was a vice president in a bank here. You want to carry that man to central bank because they have seen more than you can ever dream of.
So,
They saw how money works.
mm-hmm.
A guy like Chris, they get information daily from their colleagues around the world.
Yes.
So they know
That
what's
means
happening.
national treasure. He is a national treasure. And they treated him
No,
like
they don't see it like that. For
that.
them, they can quicker think about destroying him, disgracing him,
Yes.
so that people don't respect his expertise and
Mm-hmm.
make them all the same.
Yes.
Instead of putting him on the pedestal that he belongs.
On a pedestal, yes.
And the same thing is going on with a guy like Cummings and all these kind of people. People who got international clout,
Yes.
they get afraid of them. But they don't know those are the best things that Liberia can have.
And if you look at other countries that are doing well, that's the recipe. That's exactly the recipe
Those
they're
are the
following.
people they call home.
They are putting their best foot forward. They're taking the best among them to lead.
But for us, no. We want to disgrace them and embarrass them and make everybody disrespect them.
Yeah.
And for us to make us happy, it's just a witchcraft. You didn't do nothing to them.
I talked about the crab mentality in an earlier episode. Yes. So if I cannot have it, so no one can. And
that's why I got the country where it is, because they got so many professional Liberians who will want to go home, but when they look at the society, the way they treat people who go home and put their all into trying to make it better, people say, no, I ain't gonna be bothered with that stuff.
Yeah, people undermine you because they're so resistant to change.
They're resistant to change, and because you know why? They low self-esteem. They feel if the change come, they won't have a place. If we want our country to thrive, we the people should make sure that it is the most qualified, the most experienced people we vote for.
That's the first place to start.
Not your qualification in Liberia. We're talking about people who got international qualification, because what we need in Liberia is international respect and assistance. And if the Liberian people must know anything today, this world is about who knows you, not who you know.
Connections.
We gotta decide what we want. If we want a better country, then we look for the best people.
Yes.
If we want to keep on playing around and begging and our children come after us and be beggars too, then we keep on voting the way we vote. We vote for the people we like and the people who are our friends, the people who just like us. If you want somebody like you, why you don't run? You got to run. You got to vote for people who far better than you, because they are the people who will change your life. There's nowhere in history where a poor person took another poor person out of poverty. It don't happen.
It never happens. It is
It's
not possible.
always the wealthy ones who think that these people can't continue to suffer like this.
Yeah, and that's
If you're
why.
afraid of wealthy people,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got a long time.
Yeah, and like one American politician once said, John Kissick, he said, we don't hate the rich, we want to be the rich. And that's how people should see it. So you see guys like Cummings, guys like Simeon Freeman, people, these are the kind of people who know how to create wealth, in their own private capacity. So Liberia needs wealth right now. We are poor as a country. So how can we continue to elect leaders who have no ideas wealth creation? Expect to
They got no idea how money works.
but the people who are wealthy, who became wealthy on their own in their private capacity, uh, are the ones that we are criticizing, we are trying to put down, we are afraid of. The other time, I think I was telling you the story when a reporter asked Simeon Freeman about the watch that he was wearing, and he told this guy about the accumulated value of the watch over time, something around 500,000. And this guy was, wow, he exclaimed. He was like, why are you wearing such an expensive watch when people are hungry? And it became a headline. Everybody was criticizing Simeon Freeman as if Simeon Freeman, were in charge of the national, resources, and he was using the country's money to buy his extravagant accessories.
Say to them is two things they don't understand. These people who already got money and properties of their own, who already got a name that they've made for themselves, these people are what you will call national collateral.
Collateral, yeah.
They cannot afford to spoil their name. They cannot afford. For a guy like Cummings, who worked in the financial system all through, own his own financial business, if he caught, that's why when they were talking about his finger document, he had to bring in international lawyers quick. Because his partner started to call, what is this we hear about you? You understand? These people cannot afford for their name to be mixed up in some foolishness. So who benefits from that? The Liberian people. Because they got to protect their name. So they got to do right by us. You go and bring somebody who nobody knows and got nothing to lose, and then you get surprised that he steals. That's what he came for in the first place. But people who have accomplished, especially in these countries that we find ourselves, it's not easy for people like us to succeed.
To come in a highly competitive environment and prevail,
And so when you see them reach the top, you better respect them.
You better respect
In
them.
Liberia, they will pay the prophet keys and all the people to come and cut you up.
Yes.
To bring you down. And that's why the country is not moving. Because it's not that we don't have Liberians to do that thing in less than 10, 20 years, that country can be up and running. But no, we're looking for our friends who we can all go sit down and drink beer. Okay, when you're finished drinking beer, what happened to your children's life?
Yeah. People
What
are
happened to your life? Besides the $5 that they gave you when you finish buying 2 cups of rice and tinapa and cold soup, then what you gotta do? You online again to go beg? So this is us. And that's why we need to be able to enlighten our people to know what to look for in people. And stop playing around with this idea that you want your friend. It's not about friendship. I give people this example all the time. When your child is sick and you rush them to the hospital, who you looking for? Your friend who the doctor, or the doctor who can help your son get better or your child? Do you know that doctor? You don't know him. But what you know is that he a qualified doctor. He can help your child to be saved. That's the situation with Liberia today. What we want is somebody who can take us out of this mess that we into. And the mess that we into is managing our resources. There was a time where Ghanaians, Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans, Guineans used to run and beg the immigration people just to let them enter.
to come to Liberia. Yes.
When they enter, in less than a week, they were working. There was so much job in the country. So many companies were running in the country. People will find job, they get in the country today, in a week's time, they're working. And that's why even up to today, the people still say Liberian people are stupid. Why they destroy their country? You know, there was a time. And these blueprints are still there. Liberia had a refinery when Nigeria didn't have one.
Wow.
My father used to be the deputy controller at LRC, when it was Liberia Refining Corporation. And I will go there on a weekend with him, and you will see the long lines of trucks. And I will ask him, I said, where all these people come from? He said, some of them from Guinea, some of them from Mali, some of them from Benin, some of them, they all come for crude oil. They come for gas, they come for kerosene, they were refining that stuff in Liberia. The ship used to come to Freeport with the crude oil, and Liberia will refine it. And there was no paved road, and these people would drive on dusty road from their countries to come and get those things and go back. I mean, I'm talking about hundreds of trucks. That time, even the Ghana's road was dusty road. You know? And today, you see the same Liberia. We're running to these same places now because they're better than us. You know, and then some of the wrong thing is that the children that are around now, they get so much misinformation about what is, because people are trying to protect the foolishness that they did, and so they lie to the young ones, and they believe it. Because, you know, you keep on telling somebody a lie, they will soon think that it's true. And so that's what's happening to the country. And we need to get to the place where there's a reintroduction of civics.
We always talk about that on the show. Civic education.
And you know, there are, you know, one thing about America, they can put everything into movies, right?
Yes.
And the AI thing will be even better that people can put some documentations of Liberia in the past to help the young people see what it was, so that they can be able to compare and contrast. Because right now it don't seem like there's much for them to contrast. So they believe what they hear, and the people
Mm-hmm.
that are telling them either don't know themselves or they intentionally being disingenuous to them. And that's unpatriotic.
Yeah,
And that's dangerous for the country.
it is. So how how can we get out of the mess that we're in right now?
It would take the kind of thing you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
using the airways. You see the airways reach a lot of people. And it would take seriousness in the people who are on the airway if we want our country to be better, to start trying to steer our people in the right direction, especially if you're on radio, because if you're on the internet, they don't hear much besides those who got minutes to spare.
Yes, those who have
But
internet.
you on the radio, they will get it.
Yes.
And it would take competitive discussions
Mm-hmm.
where there will be facts discussed and truth discussed, history discussed, so that the younger ones, because they're doing the voting,
Mm-hmm.
so that they start getting aware and start knowing how dangerous it is for them to keep on voting the way they're voting. Because the only thing that will change Liberia will not change unless you get the best president,
Mm-hmm. From the top.
and
From
hopefully you
mm-hmm.
choose the right kind of people in the House of Representatives
That's another
and
part.
Senate.
Yep.
But when the children start thinking right, the young ones or the
Mm-hmm.
people of the country start thinking right enough to choose the most qualified person to be
Mm-hmm.
president, I'm sure they will use that same mentality to choose the kind of people they want to be senators and representatives, because these people seem not to know why they're there. I said earlier today, I said, we either decide to practice the democracy, what we say we are, or we call it the Kingdom of Liberia. Because if the senators and representatives think they work for the president, and the judiciary think they work for the president, then we don't have a democracy. Let us just have a kingdom.
We don't have a democracy. Yeah.
Then we just have a kingdom. Because the president should be even afraid to call any juror from the Supreme Court or from the court system to say, I'm interested in this thing. You interested? I will put your name in the newspaper.
Oh yeah.
And the House of Representatives will call you and impeach you for that.
They were impeached, of course.
But in Liberia, it's permissible. The House of Representatives, everybody do everything the president wants,
That's
right
exactly.
or wrong.
Yep. He wanted the former speaker removed.
Yeah, it was evident in that case.
They got him out.
They saw him circumvent the Constitution, and
Yeah.
nobody was brave to say, you know what? For that, I will leave this place. This is wrong.
Yes.
Everybody's so scared. Musa Belete stand in the House of Representatives and said the house must be audited. What they did, they do a business. He was getting 35 cents on a gallon. They
Mm-hmm.
brought it down to 2 cents.
Oh Lord.
Just the other day, the Supreme Court had to get him back. Now, who said they're supposed to pay him the back?
Oh,
Lord,
back. Mm-hmm.
they will not
Retroactive.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
They will not do it. You will see them going here and there, and they will reach it to their man who can call Prophet Key. You know,
Uh-huh.
I was just thinking about something. The
Mm-hmm.
other day they carried Prophet Key to Supreme Court. They
Okay.
have police all over the place.
Yes.
They
That was.
have
Mm-hmm.
they have DEA people all over the place, escorting him all in the courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear of a Fuller Defense Force or the Fuller Security Group, and you say, uh,
Cease and desist. But isn't it interesting?
you know, historically, the Fullers and the Mandingo were the first on that soil that we call Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with them is that the business people, they don't sit in one place.
Yeah, they're constantly migrating.
That's why they don't have a particular county. They all were moving around. They were moving around the whole place. But historically, they were the first before even the Gola people.
King Sao Boso was a Mandingo, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
You know? And so people got to understand that if we want this country to strive and to be successful, and if we want the young people, you know, they say the young people are the future, then Liberia has no future because when you look at our young people, they're not ready. How would they be ready? They cannot be ready with the government functioning as it is. It has to be a stable, wholesome functioning government to make them ready. Because it got to start from the school preparedness.
Yeah.
It got to start from the ABC.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they reach college, they be there. I mean, if the people can't paint LU,
Mm-hmm.
but they got extra $10 million to just pour in 4 years with no question.
Okay. The mysterious
You see,
FOIA project.
where is the priority? You can't paint that. It will not cost them $1 million to paint the whole LU campus. Look at you in this country. Go on
Mm-hmm.
any college campus, and
Mm-hmm.
the first building you see, what you see when you enter the campus, it makes you want to stay on campus.
It's encouraging, you know. It is aesthetically appealing, you know, like
Exactly.
you know,
You see
yeah,
the glass building. You enter it, that where they have all the initiation thing. You go in there and it's so organized and this and that, this and that. You're looking in the place and wondering, wow, wow. And some of these children, they're very smart. They could excel anywhere, but they haven't given them the opportunity.
very smart. Liberian youth, like the young people of Liberia are
You know,
very
and
talented.
this, for me, this should be angering them. They say, what foolishness is this?
Yes.
Well, we can look for the best people to run this country so that our lives
Yes.
can be better. If you
Look,
go in that LU classroom and see the ceiling falling when rain coming, you gotta go follow on one side, and it don't anger you, that means you satisfied with mediocrity. Then why are you in school?
yeah, that's what I keep saying. You know, everything about country.
You know, I saw these soup children the other day and it just made me laugh. I laughed my heart up. They went to red paint and said they painting the building, just mark it all over with red paint and say the government let them come paint it.
Yes.
You know,
That's a good way to protest.
I said that's a protest.
Yeah, that's a creative way to protest
And
instead
the
of
next day when they went, they sent police there to go stop them. But that's a protest.
that's a protest.
I just thought about. Everybody heard about the $200 million that ArcelorMittal gave the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at all those little things, that could take 5 million here, 10 million here, 2 million here, and get them done, right?
Mhm.
But one other thing that they're not paying attention to, how about the money that HPX gave? What happened to that one? What was that one not in the budget too? You know, that's how our people are. They know our people attention span is so low. The
Mhm.
press, so-called press, they
Yeah.
even worse. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it seems like even in Liberia, it comes to the point where even when you speak standard English,
People mock you.
yeah,
I can
and
relate.
people don't even understand.
Yeah, I can relate. I can relate.
They,
And
they misquote you, they mock you. It's like comments go on the air and say they asking about gay business. He said, what he said, I'm conflicted with that
Mhm.
kind of lifestyle. How can a man go and marry a man? Oh, they too I'm conflicted to be something. I said, you don't understand sentence styling, huh? What you
go
want
back,
him to speak? You want this man to speak like somebody in the ghetto?
go back to the basics.
You know, you know, and they every day this man will explain what he means to these people, and they still asking him the same question. And then when he got mad one time and said, "Okay, bring your wife," and then, oh, come in insulting the people. No,
Mm.
you can't keep on insulting the man because that's an insult. The man
Yeah.
have already told you it's not true. Why you keep on asking him the same question like you don't understand English? You know,
Yes.
and that's some of the thing. You hear people who say they graduated from college, they speak, and you say, "My God, how can this?" So how have you seen some of our officials outside here in this country?
Yeah.
They're not representative. I mean, you can't send them to do anything, you know. And so, if our people will get angry enough not to be physical with anything, but intellectually angry
Yes.
to want things to be better, all we got to do one simple thing: vote differently.
Vote differently. That's exactly the case. Yep.
Vote for the people with the best all-round experience. Don't be afraid of people coming from outside. They got one thing that you lack. They got exposure. But not just anybody coming from outside.
Not just
I
anybody.
mean, people who were working in the area that they claim to be.
Yes. I
Because
can.
if they're not,
Hmm.
they're like anybody else.
Of course. Of course.
You know, I tell people all the time, going to school is not education. It just makes you literate.
Yes. Education
Being
is the
literate with exposure
Mhm.
and being able to apply that exposure and literacy is education.
Yes, the application of the ideas that you have or the knowledge.
So
Hmm.
if if you just think to go and accumulate degrees because you got nothing to do, fine.
Hmm.
How
And
many American presidents you heard that got master degree before I said PhD?
very few, and that's another mindset problem again in Liberia. People are impressed by people who tend to have multiple degrees, and they revere those people. We have some young guys in Europe and other places spending their days or youthful age just accumulating degrees. So in the real world, like you spend all that time getting degrees, then you expect to come now with the 3, 4, 5 degrees and be given a job in the
But
government.
but
Eh,
but but Thomas,
Yeah.
in this country,
Mm-hmm.
If you just continuously go to school and get a degree, when you go look for a job, what do they tell you?
You're overqualified.
That's what it is. So
Yeah.
you go to places like Labra, they could tell you how much degree they got, how many degree.
Yeah. It's not about how many
Have you
degrees you have.
yeah,
It's
have you
about
worked before?
yes.
No.
It's about the work experience, the professional experience. Even when you are going to grad school in the West, and let me say this because a lot of people in Liberia don't know this. When you are applying for grad school, programs in the West, most especially in business school, I don't know about the other disciplines because I have a business master's.
Mhm.
They usually ask you, it's like a job interview. They're asking about your professional experience
Professional
in a
experience. If you got
field
that,
that you
it's
want
a
to
plus.
master in. Yes, in a field that you want to master in. Yes, and it's a very important part of the intake process, the admission process. Yes, they ask you, and they ask for professional references. They do that.
Exactly. Several things that people got to re-examine in that country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say, for instance, they got a law. Sometimes plagiarism is not good.
Yes, plagiarism.
Most of Liberia's constitution, it seems like they just plagiarize the American
Oh,
Constitution.
you copy and paste.
They didn't second guess what these things will mean for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got this law that say when the justices reach 70, they must retire.
Okay.
The average person in Liberia, by the time you finish high school, finish college, and finish law school, you already 30 something, 40 something years old,
Oh
most of
yes.
them.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So by the time you have pleaded law
Hmm.
to the extent where you become a judge, and to the extent where you've been a judge for a while before they gave you the job as justice,
Mm-hmm.
associate justice, or anything. 70, you're just getting into the groove of the stuff.
You're just getting and
Why should
more.
you resign? That thing should be lifetime appointment.
It should be.
But
It should
because
be.
the presidents want to appoint who they want, they're not looking for the most qualified. They're just looking for the person who will tell them yes. And
Uh,
that because the president is allowed to interfere with the judiciary. Because
yes.
if they weren't allowed to interfere with the judiciary, they won't care who they.
Yes.
It won't make a difference to them. you
Mm-hmm.
know and so that's the same thing about everything we do. We're not looking for the people who will stand up and be the example.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for somebody who we like, somebody who our friend, somebody who,
Somebody who appease us.
yeah, who from our tribe, and this
Yeah.
and that. And I tell people, they your tribe business.
Travel
You
plan.
what first before you begin that tribe? You will what?
And
You're
Liberia.
Liberian. If
Yes.
they took all those boundaries from there, you what?
You're still a Liberian.
You still a Liberian.
Yeah.
Why you don't concentrate on you being a Liberian
Mm.
and worry about you being whatever? Here, they got the French American, the German American, the Irish American, the Jewish American, the all American, but they what? American first.
America first. They
When
have
they're
all.
amongst their people,
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
speak their thing. But when they're out there, they're American.
To rep the
Why
flag.
can't we be the same?
Yeah.
Thomas, I remember when we went to elementary and even high school,
Mm-hmm.
until today, I don't know some of my friends' tribe. We never discussed that.
Yeah. It was not. It is not necessary. It is
Who
not.
cares? We were
Mm-hmm.
just all Liberians and we used to have fun. You know who we used to mock at? It was the
Mm-hmm.
Lebanese children, the Indian children, or the American children that were in the school. They're the ones who were looking different from us, so we used to tease them. But Liberians, we didn't care.
Yeah.
We didn't care. So it was since 1980 when the coup happened that the whole tribal business became.
Yes.
And now to the point where so you tell somebody hello. What
That's
you
it.
need? Who you call
Mhm.
you need? So what you try?
Yeah.
What good is my tribe to you?
It can
I
really it can
yeah,
really be annoying, you know.
I don't speak no dialect, but I speak French, I speak English. And you know
Okay.
what? Everywhere in the world I've been, I had to speak one of those two things. Nobody, you could speak Pele, Loma, all you want. You reach Asa,
Mm-hmm.
nobody care. In fact, just leave Bon County and go to Baton and speak Pele there. You see whether somebody care for you.
Yeah.
That's why I tell them, when your dollar become economically potent, then it will
Mm-hmm.
become a language. Then people will want to speak it. Until you reach that stage,
Mm-hmm.
save me the crap. Go speak your dollar to your people and
Mm-hmm.
speak English that will operate in and
Mm-hmm.
get our business done.
Yeah. Or even uh come together and have one language as a people, like we see in other countries. People
Yeah,
have
but
come.
you can't even do that. You know when I saw that?
Mm-mm.
Somalia tried to do that.
Mm-hmm. They have a
Because
common language that is a written language.
that's some of the things that broke them apart. That
Okay.
brought the war and things. Because they cannot communicate outside.
Okay.
You see? And that's where the idea of me saying when your dollar become economically potent,
Mm-hmm.
we got when we if we decide to speak one language, we got to speak original language. We got to speak a continental language. It can't be local dialect because you can't get outside with that. If you speak, for example, Swahili, that most of if you're looking at the square meters of Africa that speak it, and you say everybody in Africa must speak Swahili, then
Mm-hmm.
everybody do business in Swahili. Then if Indian man, Lebanese man, whatever he want to come to us, he will have to speak it.
It's compelled to learn it because you have something that they want.
You have something that they want.
Yeah, like we
Or
see in
you got nothing.
yeah, like you see in China, a lot of people are taking interest in learning the Chinese
People
language.
learning Mandarin now.
Yeah, because the Chinese have a whole lot to offer.
A whole lot to offer.
Yeah,
So until you reach the point, speak their thing until you make yourself potent.
yeah,
Then they will have to speak yours. But in
that's
the meantime, learn their thing to the best of your ability so you can communicate to get your ideas across and get what you want. You
yeah,
see, we worry about the superficial stuff,
the superficial stuff.
and when it gets to what caused those things to happen,
Mm-hmm.
we want the tree to grow flowers, but we don't
Process.
want to water the roof.
Yeah, the process of blossoming. It
Yes.
is reaching that blossoming stage.
No, we don't want to do that part. We just want to see the fun flower.
That's
But
that's the hard
the
work.
tree can't grow in space.
It cannot.
It has to have a root.
Yeah.
And so until we do what's right, the
Mm-hmm.
children, you got to start from the kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Because according to social scientists, from
Mm-hmm.
0 to 12-year-old is when the child is formed.
Yes, the
And the
nurturing.
rest of their life is just repetition.
Yes.
So if the child get damaged at that age, it will take God to change that.
Yes, sir.
That's where most people get damaged. Because during that time, their whole life got damaged. And it keeps on reflecting in their actions all through life. So when you build the foundation of the children between 0 and 12, then you got a person you can train to be the best at anything. And until we start putting in, and I said, if you want to change Liberia, put in the money, put in the infrastructure, put in the instructional material, and have a 20-year plan. Start with the children that go into kindergarten in the year you decide to start.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the best of everything. They must eat every morning, every lunchtime. You feed them and feed them good food.
Mm-hmm.
They must have internet. They must have Zoom, StreamYard, everything in their classes. And you know what? You don't
Mm-hmm.
even need to have the professor in class. You can have a system, but you can have professor from anywhere in the world
Oh yes,
to
remotely
teach them.
providing instruction remotely. Yep.
Right? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
By the time that group of children finish high school, in fact, in 20 years' time, at least 85% of that group will be college educated, and they will change the rest of the country. Just like here, you see the children, they sit down in the car with you, you chunk something outside, they get vest.
Oh
Why are you
yeah,
loitering? Huh? My teacher said, you can't tell them nothing. Because your teacher said.
because they have been conditioned to do the right things. Yes, it's
Listen, I don't know, you got small children.
I
But
do. Yeah. My
when my
young,
children,
my oldest is 7.
okay. When my children were younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
One day I didn't go to work. I decided to sit down and listen to them to their cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listened to that thing, I said to myself, I see where these children get all these things they can say.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is what forms these children. That cartoon they watch.
Yes.
It
It,
tells them everything. How
it's
they
in,
speak, the
yeah, it's
dictions they
embedded.
have,
Yeah, it's in,
everything.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Think what not to do, how to treat each other, this and that. It tells them everything. And that in something psychologically, something they like to watch,
Mm-hmm.
but it's happening to them subconsciously.
Yeah, but that is the pedagogical approach to learning,
Ah,
breaking it down to the simplest form, so that the 2-year-old can understand.
you
Yeah,
know.
so
And so until we decide to put
mhm,
in that kind of investment, then because they grown up right now, they damaged already. But if you start putting that kind of money to the kids, in every neighborhood, no place where they go and sit down on the ground to study, no, to go to school. No, make it comfortable for them. Make them anxious to want to go to school. By the time that group finish college in 20 years' time, at least 85% of them will be sound. They will know what they want. But you know the scariest thing in Liberia right now?
no.
When these people understand that if they vote right, their lives will change.
Mm-hmm.
These people who keeping them down are so afraid that
They
they
will not
will
invest.
never have another chance.
Yeah, they will not invest in them, and that's why they send their children abroad to get the best education, so that the children will come back and continue to maintain or power, so that they continue to control the resources of the country. Selfish ambition. That's what most
Selfish.
of our leaders have. Yes, we're not thinking collectively. We're only thinking individually. But it has been a really, really enriching conversation, rewarding one. I have learned so much, and I think our listeners are going to really, really value the time that you have spent with me tonight, Mr. Mawolo. Yes, we have so much to take in. We have material to last, the next 1 month, because we'll have to release it, but
Little by little.
yeah, a little bit, because there's a lot here, man. This is
No, listen, it was a pleasure being here. I
yeah,
hope we can do this thing often where, we can
yes. Hmm.
dispense some knowledge every
We need
time
to. We
we
need to.
can to help the
Mhm.
young people see life differently.
Yes,
It is not a political thing,
and
it's
it's
a
not.
national thing,
It's
it's a
not.
patriotic thing.
It is.
And we all want Liberia to be better.
Yeah.
For me, you can change government 10 times. If I want job, I will get job because somebody I know will be in the top. You
Yeah.
can change government 20 times in our country.
Hmm.
Why? I went to the best of schools in our country.
Because you're qualified. Yeah.
They will not. There ain't no way you can change the government in our country.
Hmm.
I can't. Joseph Walker is like an uncle to me,
Hmm.
but I don't care about these kind of things. My thing is, if Liberia is working, I'm fine. I don't need to go to Liberia. I'm not looking for a job in Liberia. I'm fine. But I want Liberia to work for even the child in the village. I want them to be able to see children from different countries and compete with them, stand up with them, have a conversation,